Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 25th January 2016. The first article is on public investment for a new normal. Now, India is moving through an economic phase where there is a decreased growth. But if you compare the global economies, India is the light of the world, which is achieving a higher growth rate comparison to the others. On the other side, India is a country which has a very low per capita income. It means that the general demand in the Indian economy will be less. So the present slowdown in growth in India can be attributed to decreased private investment, decreased demand in the economy. Both the internal demand due to decrease in rural demand and also external demand leading to the fall in exports. So here, how the strategy of the government has to be. The author suggests that the private sector, it invests for profits, and when it is not certain about its profits, private investments bound to recede. So the challenge has to, where or who has to initiate the change first. So in all these circumstances, historically, the public investment is the initiator of the demand. So India, without bound by the chains of the fiscal consolidation, which is prescribed by the Washington Consensus, it has to take a flexible approach towards it. So in this flexible approach, the fiscal expansion shall happen, but it is not a mindless fiscal expansion. The quality of the expenditure need to be improved. The right subsidization or better targeting of the subsidies, and the disinvestment plan has to move on. So, unworthful investment has to be done away with. It means that where the private sector is well operating, the government has to recede back over there, and government has to use those disinvested proceedings for the strengthening of the infrastructure, which can give the long-term fruits. So governmental investment in infrastructure will give a boost to the economy and also a confidence to the private sector, which will help in this revival pattern which is going on. The next is Pakistan and India relationships and the role of Pakistani army. You know that Pakistani army is a deep state or a state within a state. So the Indian stance, or anti-India stance of Pakistan, it majorly grows from the military. Military sees India as an existential threat to the Pakistan, and India did not reconcile for the creation of the Pakistan since 1947. As the right-wing government has come into power in India, it has got much strengthened. So it is unable to come out of the 1971 war scenario. So the Pakistani army, it also has a great control over the media, and it is controlling the public narrative of anti-Indian stance. So here, achievement of civil-military balance is the major challenge to the government of the day. From Benazir Bhutto to Nawaz Sharif, everyone have tried to achieve this civil-military balance with regard to the policy against India. So in this context, most of the cases the authority or the power was yielded by the military. So engaging the military other way around or developing some innovative mechanisms is very crucial for taking forward of the peace process. Now if you see the general mood in Pakistan, especially the trade establishment, it is welcoming the peace and also re-establishment of the relationships. So the cyclical approaches of engagement and disengagement is due to the disaffection with the military or disaffected elements in the military who do not trust the actions of the civilian government and also who do not trust the peace process as a solution. In previous classes we have seen that the military of Pakistan is not a monolithic establishment. Some factions, they want to support the civilian administration towards the engagement on India, and some other factions, they only see the force as a solution against India. So it means India is an existential threat and Pakistani policy is hyphenated to India. how India has to move forward is a question over here. So the article suggests that we have to find certain innovative solutions how to bring the military of the Pakistan across the table. Now, Davos, World Economic Forum Summit happening in Davos. So here there are certain behaviors which are directed against the China. So IMF chief, she spoke about clarity and certainty with regard to the banking policies. So the yuan devaluation by China has led to a cycle of competitive devaluations, which have led to the global demand to shrunk by 0.2%. Eurozone, Japan, BRICS nations all are worst affected because of their fall in the exports. So in this context, a consistent strategy across the nations is necessary to fight against the downward spiral of the economic growth. And the second thing is, Oxfam report is also discussed, which shows that the 62 people of the world, they enjoy the wealth equivalent to the half of the globe. So 1% of the people, they enjoy the wealth equivalent to the 99% of the people. And Janice, Pope has also spoke about the responsibility of the powerful to bring in the equalities in the society. So these are the various issues that have come for the discussion. And as monetary policy as an instrument towards reviving the demand, Raghuram Rajan has clearly said that monetary policy have run its course and it's reached its limits of efficacy as a policy tool. It means beyond the monetary policy, the countries has to find a way out to create the global demand. Coming to the terrorism, so Islamic State, till we considered it as a distant threat to India, it is showing its tentacles in Indian soil, on Indian soil. If you see the recent Republic Day parade, the fear or apprehensions were very high that Islamic State is planning for disruptions of the parade. And the second thing is, here the beautiful point is, the public safety and individual liberty, they have to be balanced against each other. So the public safety concerns, they increases the power of the state. So in that case, the power of the state can be misused towards the reduction of the individual liberties. So in this context, how these two have to be balanced? If you talk about Homeland Security law or Patriot law in the United States of America, or the new institutions created in India like National Investigation Agency, all these are seeing an increase in the power of the state. In the France, if you see, the emergency powers to the president during the normal times, all these are increasing the powers of the state. An increase in the powers of the state will have a direct impact to the liberties of the citizens. So both of them need to be protected. So many of the cases, the terror attacks, they are a reflection of the grievances of certain sections of the people against the state. And also the people feeling a sense of injustice in the operation of the state and the society. So these grave senses of injustice and grievances have to be done away with. So we have to create a robust criminal justice system that provides for a free and speedy justice is necessary. Without this, if the individual liberties are going to be compromised for the concerns of the public safety, they are bound to increase the sense of injustice and grievances, which is going to make the country more vulnerable for terrorism. And coming to India Arab League summit, the External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj has attended for this summit in Bahrain. So here, both the countries agreed to disconnect the religion and terrorism from each other, and terrorism in any form has to be condemned. And the second thing is, the funding sources of the terrorism, they have to be curtailed. Now, connection with this article, the CIA Saudis, they are supporting the Syrian rebels. So here, differentiating the terrorism and the political dissent, these are the two things. Now, many of the countries use terror as a policy to promote their state cause. Now, CIA Saudi, they are encouraging actively the Syrian rebels against the Assad regime, which also has culminated in various terrorist activities. So there is a very thin line between what is the terrorism, what is supporting of the opposition. So in this context, the sovereignty, identity of the different sections, these have to be protected. To the possible extent, the lack of external interference into the internal affairs of the other countries will provide for a stable world order. So this thin line has to be safely guarded. And coming to the startups, now the startup policy, it has certain critical elements where 10,000 rupees of the funds will be created over which will be spent over 2 to 4 years. So this provides for the venture capitalists in the country. The two major problems over here is what is an innovative idea? It will be determined by a board which is constituted by the Department for Industrial Policy and Promotion. And the enterprise is innovative or not is decided by this. And the second thing is, any recommendation, it has to come from a incubator in a postgraduate institution recognized by the government. It means the startup policy can effectively grow if it is away from the so-called as the government. And on the positive side, there are many benefits of the startup policy, tax holidays, and also the benefits of reduction of the so-called patent filing, benefits, reduction of the price to be paid for the patents. All these are the benefits for the startups. And also we spoke about the reduction or else for 3 years totally lack of any labor inspections, etc. And finally, the best part of the startup policy is a mobile application which can integrate all the regulatory functions of the government at one place. So, but however, this governmental intervention may decrease the total spirit of the thing. And external commercial borrowings, you all know that they are a critical components with regard to the balance of payments on the capital account. So, here there are 3 tracks are identified by RBI, track 1, track 2 and track 3. Track 1 is related to the long-term foreign currency denominated borrowings, short-term denominated foreign currency denominated borrowings with a maturity for 3 to 5 years. The track 2 is long-term borrowings in foreign currency, a maturity up to 10 years. The track 3 is rupee denominated borrowings with a maturity from 3 to 5 years. So these are the 3 things which we spoke about. With regard to this track 3, there is no policy clarity. Infrastructure projects, they can only borrow from track 2 and track 3, which are the finances difficult to obtain. And housing finance, these are totally excluded from the borrowing through external commercial borrowings, so which can dampen that particular industry. So added to that, there is no difference or there is no clarity provided between FCCB, foreign currency convertible bonds and foreign currency exchangeable bonds. So FCCB is a form of the debt. So in these circumstances, FCEB is more an equity instrument, foreign currency exchange bonds. So FCCB is more of a debt, so RBI wants to have a greater control over FCCB, but this policy clarity is missing over here. This is what is the article talks about. Finally, French President Hollande has visited India, and he spoke about increasing the 1998 special and strategic partnership to the next level of the strategic partnership. Here India and France are going to deepen their engagement on terrorism on lines with United States India Homeland Security Dialogue. So remember this point. And then Rafale deal is also on the final stage, which will be concluded. And already it's a government deal which is concluded. The price is the only issue which is standing in between. Probably this visit can find a solution to this. So the terror cooperation is high on the agenda now, and Hollande is the guest at the Republic Day parade. Thank you very much and all the best.